stretch and down the hill to the diving turn. Jamie Gallus driving the Chevrolet Camaro, getting ready to roll here. He is starting deep in the field in 11th spot.
Also on board will be with Tommy Kendall this afternoon, who's got the highest percentage of wins to starts in this series. There you see him on board. He's going to have his work coming up from 4th spot.
And Dorsey will be starting from the front row, a man with more experience here than probably anyone else.
Ready to roll at Lime Rock Park.
As you said, Sam, of course, Dorsey Schrader, probably the most experienced driver here, going into this very important Big Bend. Squeezed hard there by Ron Fellows behind him, and Greg Pickett on the outside. There you see Jamie Gallus back there in 11th spot.
Into the only left-hand corner on this circuit. It is the slowest turn of Lime Rock Park, and you need to stay way left to get a jump to the back straightaway. It's not really a straightaway. That's zig and then zag, 2 corners along what is now called no-name straightaway. End of the climbing turn.
Climbing turn, very tricky. The front of these cars coming off the road. Some of the front wheels actually losing contact through West Bend there with Dorsey Schrader, the fastest corner hill, the second fastest corner, down to the downhill. This is a real gut wrencher. Fast downhill, swoop in. You've got to make a good apex, otherwise you'll be right out on that gravel on the left. And of course you need to make a really good exit out of there to get down this straightaway, which Jamie Gallus is trying to do to get around. I think that's Saunders, Bill Saunders, in one of the Highway Master cars.
Jamie Gallus has got to move up fast. He's leading the championship, but only slightly over Dorsey Schrader. Dorsey, of course, has a clear track in front of him, and Jamie Gallus, you see him right there coming through the left-hander, is in trouble. I mean, he's going to have to move up fast.
And right in front of him is Scott Sharp. Ron Fellows has got around Greg Pickett in the yellow car, in the number 6 car. Ron Fellows in that gorgeous Sunoco car right behind Dorsey Schrader as they go up the climbing turn. Ron Fellows really needs to win this race.
Fellows, of course, who had a great start to the season at St. Petersburg, but has not had any luck since then, and had a big crash in the turn that they are about to go through right now last year.
On board there from up there, you see Brian Simo in one of the Tom Gloyd cars. There you see Ron Fellows trying to go around the outside of Dorsey Schrader at Big Bend.
Sam, is that the toughest way to pass here on the outside of Big Bend?
I tell you, it's tough everywhere here, Mike. Now, the track with these very, very fast, wide cars feels narrower than it ever has, and it's a treacherous track. It's more like a mile oval in many ways, where momentum counts as much as anything.
Sam would know about momentum. Formula V once was SCCA's most popular class. Little overshoe-looking cars on skinny tires. Sam was the first man to ever drive one in top gear with his foot on the floor all the way around this place, something that for years folks said could never be done.
I didn't think it could be done either.
But did it. Down the hill.
That front bunch very, very closely bunched up as we go back to Brian Simo, just behind Boris Said. Boris Said in that all-white number 14. He, of course, was the fastest qualifier, had to start back in 5th. A tremendous disadvantage here with that inverted start. But it really has made Trans Am racing exciting over the last couple of years as the fastest runners try and fight their way to the front. It's also led to a bit of body contact, which has caused a little bit of controversy, but nevertheless, it certainly does make racing exciting. Greg Pickett in that yellow, number 6, picking up the pace a little bit again, and recatching Ron Fellows.
So we're underway at Lime Rock Park in this big double-header action of Memorial Day. We'll be right back. Beneath the bridge, and there you see Ron Fellows trying to make the move on Dorsey Schrader, who has led from the pole and has led every lap. And each time they go to Big Bend at the end of the front straightaway, Fellows keeps trying to work in that high line and make a pass to the outside, because Schrader is not about to give up the inside of the racetrack.
Mike, Dorsey told me that this turn they're about to approach here, as they go over this hill crest, he has to let off right here a little bit, or the nose of the car would get air under it and possibly flip the car. In other words, he has to let off as the car is cresting that hill.
You can hear the engine revs rise as they go. There's another big drop here too, quite sickening. At the bottom there, the road suddenly flattens out. You've really got to get the car tucked in. Dorsey there using every inch of road, which you've got to use on this fairly long front straightaway. A lot smoother than it used to be, but as you can see, still pretty bumpy on the approach to Big Bend.
The track repaved 3 years ago, complete repaving here at Lime Rock Park, and the paddock newly paved this year.
God, the paddock's wonderful.
It's great.
Like hope. I mean, no dust and mud at last. Absolutely wonderful. Look at Boris Said giving Tommy Kendall in the 11 car a pretty good run for his money.
Kendall, of course, was so fast last week at Mosport. He had trouble at the start when he was hit from behind by another car. And twice he charged through the pack, but today he doesn't seem to have that edge, does he, in speed?
No, he certainly doesn't. And Boris Said, of course, was quickest in qualifying and practice, and of course got put back into 5th spot. And he's having a job getting further forward than that.
Down to the bottom of the hill, and just as the suspension loads, it starts to come down and settle. That's when you got to make that turn in. Mistime it, and you're off to the gravel and the tire wall. One
of these big 2,600-pound cars with nearly 600 horsepower. I mean, that is a bit of a gut-wrenching turn.
Let's check with the Tom Gloy pit. Here's Bart.
Tom Gloy, I see you have a monitor in the pit. You're watching the race as it unfolds. Dorsey started first with the 5th fastest time, but obviously he's pretty quick. Has he talked to you about how he's doing out there?
No, we haven't had any discussions at the moment. You know, the way the inversion is, if you're not going to be first, you might as well be 5th. So Dorsey's run here from the front a lot. He understands what he needs to do. He just needs to stay out front and run as easy as he can.
Now, how about morning warm-up? I talked to Dorsey. He said the car felt really good. Did you make some changes overnight?
Yeah, he was really quick in the morning warm-up, so we're hopeful for the event.
Well, they got a front row seat here, watching on TV and on the track behind them. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Bart. What's interesting about Dorsey's race setup, Goodyear has a hard and a soft compound tire here. He is the only driver with the harder compound on 3 corners and the soft compound on the right front only. He says he can get enough heat in those rear tires with the hard compound to make them work like the 430s.
Well, I mean, he would know. He's driven here so many times. But as Sam said at the beginning of the show, Lime Rock is almost like an oval. It's only got that one left-hander that we've just been looking at. Otherwise, everything else is a right-hand turn and puts tremendous strain on the left side tires, especially the left rear when they want to put power down to go up this hill, power down out of Big Bend. So the left side tires take a real beating here.
And uncorrected, Scott Sharp has the same tire setup on his car.
Plus, it's chilly today, you guys. Mid-60s, and it's cloudy. The sun is not really beating down onto the track at all. You know, what Dorsey told me, you see him leading here moments before the start, was he said what makes it so hard to drive here these days is the turns. You get some grip in the turn for a few seconds, and then it lets go, and then you get grip again, and then it lets go. So, I mean, you're getting these G-forces alternating on and off on your body all the way around the track.
These cars do develop quite a bit of G-force. They've got quite good downforce. They use all the bodywork, the top surface. They're not allowed to use the undersurface. And there's old Greg Pickett, the most experienced driver in here, starting his 134th Trans Am start, and he's hanging right in there with that Chevrolet. We've got a Ford leading, 2 Chevrolets following, and a Ford in 4th.
It's an interesting racetrack. The corners are flat, but you can almost think of that uphill turn as a bank turn, and the downhill, because you get such loading when you hit the bottom of the hill, you can almost think of it as a bank turn, but it sure doesn't look it, does it?
No, that loading at the bottom of the hill, like you mentioned, actually gives you a bit of grip right at the time you need it, and turning into the uphill, as you say, because it's going uphill, you get some good grip there too.
A very challenging track to drive as the Trans Am Championship Tour continues. 10 laps are complete. Down hero is Norwalk, Connecticut, Scott Sharp, who is on pit road. Bart Kendall.
Yeah, you can see they're putting the housing back on over the shifter. It looks like Scott had a problem with the shifter. They had that off. They were rocking the car back and forth. It looked like it might have been stuck in a gear or stuck between gears. They've shut the engine off, but he did complain of a balky shifter. They're going to try to probably get out there and see if they can get some points, but right now any chance of victory is gone. One other quick note on Ron Fellows, running a strong second. Talked to Dennis LaCava, his crew chief. He said Ron hasn't been talking to him, and that's usually a good sign. Back to you guys.
Scott Sharp's dad, Bob, car dealer here in Wilton, Connecticut, and winner of many SCCA national races here at Lime Rock and several championships.
And, of course, Scott, the current and first IRL champion as a result of that. You see him now resuming the race here, but, of course, a couple, 3 laps back. But after that nearly 500-mile run yesterday, look at this battle for the lead.
Boy, Fellows is just relentless in trying to use the draft, and the inside, he's under Dorsey. Almost there in Big Bend. He had just an opening and couldn't capitalize.
How about that?
Well, of course, both these guys, Dorsey is now driving defensively, and of course Ron Fellows is driving offensively to try and get around him, which is actually slowing both of them up slightly, which of course is playing right into the hands of old Greg Pickett there, hanging right there in third spot. And surprisingly, they're still pulling away from Tommy Kendall, back in fourth, and of course, Boris said in fourth and Tommy Kendall in fifth.
Yes, let's show you top of the screen. Now here is Fellows looking to the outside. Dorsey comes up to cover that spot. Fellows dives right down to the curbing. Just gets the nose under.
But no, because Dorsey knows that if you occupy the middle of the center part of that turn.
Here we go around the outside.
See, but he's still going to come out of here in the lead. Dorsey is. Fellows will take the lead going into the S's.
Right.
Yeah.
He's online now, and Dorsey's up to the outside. Oh, this is great.
Oh, Dorsey may have a chance.
Now Dorsey's got the bottom.
Think so.
Oof.
A little heat. Dorsey breathed it, didn't he? Just a second, and that let Rob right by.
He had to breathe it there to let. Otherwise, he'd have
washed the nose right out.
Now, this is the no-name straight, which, as you can see, is not straight at all. This is the climbing turn. Now they're thick in some of the slower traffic. There's the 21 car at the back there. That's Ted Sullivan, who's no doubt looking in his mirror, desperately trying to keep out of everybody's way.
And watch out for the white car starting to be part of this picture, which Boris said you will see him soon because he's up to fourth now.
And of course, there's Scott Sharp. Getting involved. He's trying to stay well out of the way. He knows he's 2 laps down. On the other hand, of course, it's very much. Whoa,
there's Boris said he just grabbed third from Greg Pickett.
He did, and Tommy Kendall's going to try and do the same thing. Whoa, a clutch of lap traffic there. That's the 23 car of.
But Kendall was easily passed by Said, which surprises me. Kendall seems to have no teeth today, at least not yet.
And he was second fastest qualifier too, so not like Tommy to be off the pace.
And he's third in the championship, so it's an unusual day for him. Doesn't take much to miss the setup by just a little bit.
Let's go to pit road, Bart.
Sam, you were just talking about how there's no teeth in Tommy's car right now. I'm here with Danny Binks, crew manager. Now, Tommy was second quickest. He's dropped back a little bit. Boris is a little quicker. Has Tommy told you if the car's okay?
Well, we're just trying to save the tires a little bit right now, and on a full tank, Boris's car is a little bit better. So we'll just see how it goes. Boris needs to run and really do good, and Kendall's trying to get all the points we can get. So Boris has nothing to lose to win this thing, so that's what we're on to right now.
Another question, are there any team orders? You said Tom's running for the championship, Boris is running for a win. Any team orders among the drivers?
No, I just asked Kendall if he didn't want to run any faster than that. We'd let Boris try to go to the front and see what he could do. And Kendall said okay, so that's what we're doing right now. Let Boris do the work for us and see what happens at the end.
Boris is looking good. They're hoping that Tommy's race comes to him in the last half. Back to you guys.
So a little bit of cooperation there among the Roush teammates.
Well, they are the only car. They have a combination on their cars of 600s on the left side and 430s on the right. Ron Fellows has been very conservative. Got 600s all around, as has Jamie Gallus. So they're going to be able to abuse their tires just a little bit more than Tommy Kendall and Boris said, who are going to have to behave them just a little bit.
You see Boris starting to catch the leaders now. He's very much a factor in this white number 14. Earlier in this very exciting weekend at Lime Rock, which combines the racing of SCCA and IMSA cars, Boris said had a terrific race that David, you and I had a chance to call. He won easily with a Mustang earlier in a different class.
In the Touring World Challenge.
He was awesome, wasn't he?
Absolutely awesome, yeah, because there were 58 cars, folks, 58 cars on his 1.5 mile circuit. I tell you, it was traffic from start to finish. And old Boris weaved his way through the lot, so he's used to weaving his way through traffic around his track.